ॐ सहना भवतु सहनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। Now, Ishani, I am making you host.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, students, today Ishani ma'am is here. She will teach you about the ethical perspectives of counseling process, right? So, Ishani ma'am, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shreyashi ma'am. So I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. So by now you have underwent several theories in counseling, several classes you have already completed in counseling. So what could probably be the ethical aspects of mental health counseling? As a counselor, what probably will be the ethical issues which might bother you? Before starting my presentation, my slides, I just want to hear it from you people. Whatever idea you are having, you can just share with me.
May I try?
Please, madam.
Actually, ethically, it is a first and foremost duty of a counselor not to disclose the real fact or relevant fact to others regarding the counseling proceeding for the client.
Very true, ma'am. This is called confidentiality, right?
Yes, confidentiality. And secondly, it is also necessary to remember as a moral aspect, ethical aspect, not to discourage in any way to the client, and just in every aspect try to boost the mental status of the client, and in no way make him or herself discomfortable in any way to come to the therapist.
Okay, thank you.
These 2 points are in my mind.
Arpita, madam, thank you so much. So I want answer from everyone. So others, whatever idea you are having, please share. So Priyanka, Darsh, Abhishek.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Priyanka.
No, ma'am, Darsh.
Okay, Darsh, please go ahead.
Ma'am, there can be further ethical issues, like there may be a communication gap between the counselor and the client, and also the privacy issue may also arise during telementary counseling.
Yeah, so privacy is again maintaining the confidentiality. Yes, so one point we are getting confidentiality. Then Arpita ma'am talked about what else? To be good, do not harm the client and try to benefit the client, right? So there is one principle also regarding this, we will come to know. And thank you, Darsh. So the next.
Abhishek.
Yeah, please go ahead.
ethically or morally or by rule, इन सब में बैलेंस होता है मैडम. इसके लिए एक महाभारत का एग्जांपल लूंगा मैडम मैं, जिसमें हाँ इतिहास ने भीष्म को क्षमा नहीं किया और कृष्ण को पूजा किया था उन्होंने. क्योंकि भीष्म बाय रूल सही थे, मोरली सही थे, बट वो लोकहित के आधार पे नहीं था मैडम। और कृष्ण बाय रूल वो ब्रेक करते थे, लेकिन वो लोकहित के आधार, एथिकली वो सही थे। इस वजह से उनको उनको रेस्पेक्ट मिली मैम, क्योंकि वो रूल, भीष्म पितामह रूल को फॉलो करते थे।
मॉरली इसको नहीं बोलेंगे, इसको बोलेंगे कि भीष्म पितामह उनका जो अपना वैल्यू सिस्टम था, उनके
वैल्यूज,
हिसाब से वो सही थे, अपने वैल्यू सिस्टम के हिसाब से ही वाज ओके, वो सही थे।
वैल्यूज, हाँ, मींस वैल्यूज,
मतलब उनका जो था, उनका अपना जो वैल्यू था, जो वैल्यू
हाँ,
वो
पर्सनल
अपने
वैल्यू,
जीवन में मानते थे, उनके हिसाब से वो सही थे। बट लोगों के हिसाब से, सोसाइटी के हिसाब में
वो
कहीं
सही
कहीं
नहीं।
वो अनएथिकल हो गया, राइट?
यस मैडम, और इसीलिए मतलब एथिकली व्यक्ति सही होना चाहिए, बाकी तो चलेगा, वैल्यूज उसके बाद आती है मैम, वैल्यूज के ऊपर होता है।
Very good point, Abhishek, because here also we will see that in sometimes value conflict may arise in between the counselor and the client. So that is another dilemma or in ethical aspects of counseling. Good point. Thank you. And who else?
Yes, ma'am. I think, ma'am, the communication skill of the counselor must be very open, and counselor must have some knowledge about the different cultures, because the culture and the belief of a different society. The counselor may has to face during the counseling session, to encourage the counseling, कुछ ऐसा,
the client.
yes ma'am.
Okay, and, so here
and open-minded, right? Yes ma'am.
Yeah, so Priyanka, actually your point is very complementary to what Abhishek has shared just now, because the counselor's value system and the client value system works within the periphery of societal value system. So somewhere the advices or the suggestions which the counselor is giving to the client, that should be in the periphery of the societal value system.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, anything else from anyone? Any other points? Okay, somehow this full screen mode doesn't work in my system properly. I need to go back to, but I shall stop sharing and reshare. I find difficulty while I share to change the slides when I just share in the full screen mode. Is it visible to you? And just increasing the view so that you can see it. Are you able to see the slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So here how it is going. So the counseling and psychotherapy is now a growing profession in India. In fact, during this recent pandemic, we can see that this mental health counseling along with telemedicine, this actually has increased. The cases have increased. Many people are willing to take such services. So of recent, public awareness around mental health issues have increased. Consequently, the profession of counseling is now being expanded to several settings. So we can see that in most of the private schools, there is one counselor. So in educational institutions, there are counselors. Then in community, workplace, even some of the NGOs, they are working in this field. So we are much more accepting counseling. We are accepting mental health counseling, and we are accepting the fact that yes, people can face this dilemma and people can approach a counselor. And the mediums could be telephone, online video calls, chats, emails. There are so many mediums. besides the face-to-face, one-to-one counseling mode, right? So now these basic principles of ethical practice, these basic principles are there for any type of say service, any type of service in the sense, any type of medical service, which covers counseling as well. So the first and foremost is autonomy. Now I'm just reading the slides. You hear these terms, and in the next slides, we will be explaining what it is. So one is autonomy or self-determination. So this is autonomy of the client. Then non-maleficence, avoiding doing harm to the client. I think Arpita madam was talking something in these lines. Then beneficence, doing good to the client, promoting client's well-being. Then justice, fair and just treatment. Fidelity, making realistic commitments, keeping promises. And veracity, that is truthfulness and honesty towards the profession. Any questions
No, ma'am.
from this? Okay. So now we will explain this autonomy. So one thing is respect for independence and self-determination. So most of the, see, when a client comes to a counselor, he might be confused. He might be confused with his own value system, own attitude towards something. He might be having some dissonance in his mind about his own behavior. So when the counselor is addressing the client, the counselor should not be overwhelmed with his own value set, rather than respect the client as an independent individual. So
मैम वॉइस नहीं आ रहा है.
I also can't hear anything.
No voice.
Can anyone hear?
hello, am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, I just lost the connection.
Okay.
Let me reshare my screen. So we were talking about autonomy. So the main point in autonomy is this particular line. The essence of this principle is allowing an individual the freedom of choice and action. So what happens when the counseling starts? So the counselor is expected to explain the process to the client, inform the client about the positive and negative things, leave it open to the client whether he is okay to get the counseling or not. So it must be the client's choice and action to take the service. Does it make sense? Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So here also you can see these important considerations. I'm just reading it out and then I shall explain. So helping clients to understand how their decisions and their values may be received within the context of the society in which they live, and how the values may impinge on the rights of others, and client's ability to make sound and rational decisions. So the counselor should give respect to the client's individuality and client's decision-making ability. So the process starts with one informed choice which the client is making, and then the counselor may suggest certain things and explain to the client that, see, these actions may result in such results or such response from the society or such response from the family members. And ultimately, it's the informed decision of the client to go ahead with the process of counseling or not. So this is one of the very most important ethical aspects. So in the beginning itself, the counselor should focus on autonomy of the client to go ahead with the service or not. Is it okay? Should we move to the next part?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So then these two ethical aspects are very similar. One is non-maleficence and one is beneficence. So in non-maleficence, the counselor should avoid doing any harm to the client, and in beneficence, doing good or promoting client's well-being. So it's kind of complementary to each other, right? So moving on to the next point. Yeah. So then there should be justice, fair and just treatment. So here's something which should be noted. So justice does not mean treating all individuals the same. If an individual is to be treated differently, the counselor needs to be able to offer a rationale that explain the necessity and appropriateness of treating the individual differently. Suppose someone who is, who can't see, who is blind, is coming to the coming for the service, coming to take the service. So maybe the counselor can give him a book or some reading material in Braille or some forms in Braille. So this is just an example. It's like, it doesn't mean that treating in every individual equally, but according to the need of the individual, the counselor is expected to do justice so that he can provide fair and just treatment to the client. Should I move on to the next point?
This is very important move, madam. Justice is very important.
Yes.
मैम जब मैं फैमिली काउंसलिंग करने गया था तब ये चीज बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट रोल अदा करती है मैडम।
बिल्कुल।
मतलब एक केस बताता हूँ मैडम, तो क्योंकि मैं एक फैमिली में गया था जिनके, if you want then I'm share.
Yeah, please go ahead. I think others are also curious to know, right?
Okay. तो मैडम मैं जब फैमिली में काउंसलिंग करने गया था, उनका क्या कि वो जो उनका बेटा था, वो मतलब उसका डिवोर्स का केस चल रहा है, ठीक है, तो बच्चे बाहर का है, दोनों छोटे छोटे, तो उनको जस्टिस नहीं दे पा रहा था। मतलब मीन्स उनके साथ उनकी मदर कहीं और रहती बाहर ना, और जो उस लड़के की मदर है, लड़के की जो माँ है, तो वो भी अब 65 की हो गई, उसके फादर है नहीं, उनके हस्बैंड है नहीं, तो वो भी चाहती थी कि वो यहीं रहे, इंडिया में रहे, और वाइफ चाहती थी बाहर रहे, और उनकी एक सिस्टर, उसकी शादी नहीं हुई, तो वो भी मतलब वो चाहती थी कि वो दोनों यहाँ तीनों एक साथ रहते थे, माँ और दो बेटे दोनों, और जो लड़का है वो उसके क्योंकि शादी होने की वजह से उसके 2 बच्चे हुए, तो उसका डिवोर्स का केस चल ही रहा है, तो उससे
हाँ।
बहुत फैमिली डिस्टर्बेंस है। वो दोनों बच्चे जो है उसके पास थे, 2 के सॉरी 3 बच्चे,
मतलब बच्चे जो है पापा के पास थे।
वो उसके फादर के पास थे तीनों, और मदर आउट ऑफ इंडिया मींस, तो उसका उनका केस चल रहा था। अब इसमें मैडम क्या हुआ कि स्पेशली मैं एथिक्स की बात बताऊंगा इस पॉइंट पे। जस्टिस तो बच्चों के लिए ही, तो उनको तो पता भी नहीं है कि कैसे क्या होता है। तो मैंने उनको एक ही बात समझाई उसके फादर को कि आपने बच्चों के प्रति आप ईमानदार नहीं है, पहली बात तो वो तो नादान है। दूसरा उनकी जो सिस्टर थी वो बहुत इन्वोल्यूशन था उनका घर में, उनके पर्सनल लाइफ में। तो उनको भी समझाया कि देखो आपका इन्वोल्यूशन इनकी पर्सनल लाइफ में नहीं होना चाहिए, और आप ना तो मदर के प्रति आप समर्पित रहो या बच्चों को, और बच्चों की केयरिंग नहीं कर पाए। मैंने कहा आप ही हो जो मदर की भी केयर कर सकती थी और बच्चों की भी केयर कर सकती थी। वो खुद एक्चुअली पता लगा वो भी थोड़ा डिस्टर्ब था मामला उनका। तो इस तरह से बहुत ही सिस्टमेटिक अलग अलग काउंसलिंग की, और सबको अपनी अपनी मतलब कि भाई आपका ये फॉल्ट है, आप इस तरह से उसको इम्प्रूव करना है। एक तो ये जस्टिस हो गया। दूसरा एक चीज उन्होंने जो कही, जो मैं मेन पॉइंट पे आता हूँ जस्टिस वाली बात पे, उन्होंने कहा कि हम रखेंगे और कल को केस हार के बच्चे चले जाते हैं, है ना। तो क्योंकि बच्चे से पूछा जाता है ना, 8 साल के प्लस
हाँ,
बच्चे हो
बच्चों
जाते
को
हैं,
पूछा जाता है
तो
कौन वो
हाँ
किनके
तो
साथ रहना पसंद
हाँ
करेंगे।
पसंद करेंगे। तो मैंने उनको यही बात कही। मैंने कहा आप इतना आपको अपने आप पे विश्वास नहीं, आप अगर उनको अच्छा रखते, अच्छा खिलाते, अच्छा प्रेम से रखोगे बच्चों को, तो ये खुद बोलेंगे ना कि हमको यहीं रहना, नहीं जाना है मदर के पास। उनका ये कहना था कि हम ये चॉकलेट दिखा देंगे और बच्चे बोल देंगे तो चले जाएंगे। मैंने कहा ऐसे चॉकलेट से नहीं होता है मैडम। 8 साल के बच्चे को पता है कि कौन मुझे प्यार करेगा या कौन नहीं करेगा।
हाँ।
तो मैंने कहा आप एथिकली आप बच्चों को तो अच्छा रखिए, तो वो खुद बोलेंगे कि बुआ है अच्छी, तो आप अच्छा अगर अच्छी केयर करेंगे तो वो ऑटोमेटिक आएगी। वो कि मैं इतने साल तक अभी रख रही हूँ, 5 साल से उनको हम सब रख रहे हैं, और बच्चे उधर चले जाएंगे तो फिर हमारा तो टाइम और एनर्जी वेस्ट हो गया। मैंने कहा आप भगवान की तरफ देखो, आप जस्टिस तो आप बच्चों की तरफ देखो ना, उनकी परवरिश अच्छी करो। आप ये आगे का क्यों सोचते हो? अगर आप अच्छा प्रेम से और अच्छा उनको परवरिश करोगे तो बच्चे ऑटोमेटिक बोलेंगे। ये है।
True.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Abhishek ji, for sharing this.
I just
Anyone?
want to,
Yeah.
I just want to add one point. As you said, equality for equals. Unequals should not be treated with equal eyes. It is just like our Indian Constitution said in Article 14, 15, and 16, isn't it, ma'am?
True, very true.
Yeah, it's our law provides this facility to all.
True, very true. So as a counselor also, we need to take care, or we need to consider these facts. Thanks for sharing your views. That's how a class becomes interactive. So next point is fidelity. Fidelity here means making realistic commitments and keeping promises as a counselor. So basically what we are coming to, that is the counselor must not, they should take care of the fact that they should not threaten the client or leave the client in the middle of the road before completing all the sessions. So counseling is a dynamic process. So sometimes the counselors are able to strike a chord with the clients in the beginning of the process itself, because sometimes the clients are coming to the counselor willingly. But most of the times, especially in India, many of the times, the client is maybe the parents or maybe the spouse have cajoled the client to come to the counselor, and the client is not willing to accept the service. So in those cases, it is a little difficult, because until and unless the client accepts the counselor, he will not pay any attention to the suggestions, and in his own mind he will be putting up all possible negative possibilities or negative points against all the suggestions. He will not converse properly. He will not disclose the facts properly, which is much needed for the counseling process. So the counselor is having that obligation. These are very natural behavior from the client's side. So the counselor should not lose his or her heart and end the process in between. So the commitment should come from within the counselor, that this is my client and I want to help him out with his problem. So I shall complete the process. Is it making sense? Am I clear?
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
you means acceptation means adjustment, acceptation.
So that acceptance, sometimes the counselor gets easy acceptance from the client. Sometimes it's not so easy, because many of the times the idea which client is having in his mind is, मैं पागल हूँ क्या? मुझे क्यों यहाँ लाया गया है? So in most of the times till now, there is a stigma regarding this counseling process in India. People feel that as if they are declared that, yes, this is a mad person. But actually that is not the case, right? All of us, we during our life, we go through several difficult phases, and many of the times we feel depressed or we feel bothered with certain thing, when we feel like if someone says something which is suitable for that moment, or rather put it in this way, that if we go for a professional counseling in that phase, it will actually help us hugely, and we can come ahead of that phase very easily. But most of the times we are not accepting in our mind that it's just a phase and any people can face such a difficult phase. So whenever someone suggests us go for a counseling, the first thing that comes in our mind is, मैं पागल हूँ क्या, मैं क्यों जाऊँ? Right, in most of the cases. So here the counselor may face certain difficulty during the process to gain acceptance. So he or she should not lose their heart. Fidelity means whatever commitments the counselor is having towards his job, he should complete that. Keep the promise.
Ma'am, can I say something?
Yes, please.
यस मैम, एक हमारे केस हुआ था, मीन्स मेरा दोस्त था, वो लेके आया था एक लेडीज को, उनको बहुत ही सुपरटी, उसने बता दिया था उनका नेचर सब तरह का। हाँ, मीन्स हमने जब स्टडी की थी तब हमको बताया था कि भाई आप अपना एक डेकोरम रखना, ये वो, लेकिन अपने इंडियन कल्चर बिल्कुल अलग है ना मैडम। तो हम बुक्स पढ़ते फॉरेन ऑथर्स की, लेकिन इंडियन कल्चर जैसा कुछ काउंसलिंग का इतना हमने कुछ पढ़ा नहीं था। जो जनरली हमारी जो समझ थी उस हिसाब से मैं चला। तो वो जो लेडी आई तो हमने मतलब नमस्कार किया, उठे, और उम्र दराज थी, बता तो दिया ही था ऑलरेडी कि भाई इनको सुपरिटी कॉम्प्लेक्स बहुत तगड़ा है। तो हम मतलब चरण स्पर्श किया, मेहता जी आप आइए, आपकी वजह से हम अच्छे हैं, मतलब इस तरह से उनको इतना मीन्स कहते हैं ना, उनको इतना रेस्पेक्ट देके बात की, और आधा घंटे तक उन्होंने काफी लेक्चर दिए,
एक्सेप्टेंस इजी हो जाए, राइट?
हाँ, यस मैम। और आधा घंटे तक लगभग उन्होंने अच्छा सुनाया, मतलब मीन्स मेरा खुद दोस्त तो चला गया पास से, इतना मैं सुन नहीं पाऊंगा, मीन्स आधे घंटे तक उनका हम बहुत लिसनिंग की। उसके बाद उन्होंने फिर हमारी बात सुनना शुरू किया, मीन्स मतलब हाफ एन आवर तो हमको केवल उनकी कम्युनिकेशन, उनके एक्सेप्टेशन में लग गया, एडजस्टमेंट में।
So as per the case, so as per the case, in different situations, the counselor may has to adopt two different techniques, or say different strategies to establish this acceptance. And in fact, during the process, the counselor should not leave the process in between, and should have that commitment to themselves to whatever the promise was given, he or she should take care of the fact that that is being completed. Any other questions or any other experience sharing on this?
एक चीज और भी है मैडम इसमें, ये सुपरिटी कॉम्प्लेक्स का बहुत तगड़ा मैडम रहता है आजकल। और कोई मीन्स जब मैं
डिपेंड्स,
हाँ
जरूरी नहीं है सबको रहे।
हाँ एक दूसरा रहता मैम, कोई सुनने वाला नहीं मैक्सिमम होता है ना, हमें ऐसा लगता है हमने काउंसलिंग की जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ी, केवल उनकी बात सुन ली, वो खुद ही उन्होंने ही अपना डिसीजन बता दिया और उन्होंने ही समझ लिया, ऑटोमेटिक चले गए नॉर्मल होके यूं।
अच्छा,
जैसे कब
तो
इतना वो नहीं
उनका
था मीन्स, क्या सुनने वाला ही चाहिए था बस, कभी हमको कुछ बोलने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ी मैम।
okay. Okay, so the next concept, which is veracity, this is again complementary with fidelity. So veracity is truthfulness and honesty. So truthfulness and honesty towards the profession. So you have to be honest in telling the truth to the client. Is it fine till now? Just excuse me. Yeah. So we will move ahead. Now, till now, whatever we discussed, that is the basic principle of ethics in any kind of medical service. So that will be same for any hospital staff, nursing staff, other medical practitioners, as well as the psychiatrists and the counselors. And these are some other aspects of ethics in counseling or aspects in ethical counseling. So as we were discussing in the beginning of the class, so first and foremost, the concept of confidentiality comes. So the counselor has to keep all the information very confidential. The discussions, the communications that is happening between the counselor and the client, that needs to be confidential. So here we can see that there is a section 23 under Medical Healthcare Act 2017. So this also reconfirms the fact that every patient, alive or deceased, has the right to confidentiality. So if you remember, of recent we had this Sushant Singh Rajput case where his counselor came up with the disclosure to the media that Sushant Singh was under treatment and all, and actually she received much hatred and because of breach, confidentiality breach. So this is highly important, but there are certain exceptions also. So one of the exceptions is when the counselor feel that the clients might harm themselves or others, say suicide or homicide, or they're taking some substance abuse, or they're committing some child sexual abuse. So these are the cases when the counselor can breach this confidentiality norm and can disclose the facts to the proper authority. Same way, in some cases, when there is an investigation is going on for a suicide or homicide or any such case which is under legal purview, at that time also, if the counselor is asked by the law to disclose certain facts about the client, he or she has to do that. Am I clear? Any questions regarding this?
No, ma'am, clear.
Okay. So now there is one important and say interesting fact which is pertinent to the Indian society. So what happens in Indian society, sometimes the counselor face the problem in this regard in keeping the confidentiality. Suppose the client is some adolescents or some child or someone which is who is much more dependent on his parents, and it's the parent who is paying the money. So the parent want to know about what the child has disclosed, what the client has disclosed, and the treatment, continuation of the treatment depends on whether the parent is happy with the service or not. Now the dilemma to the counselor is whether in these cases to breach confidentiality or not, right? So the counselor here has to take the proper decision based on the case, on a case-to-case basis. If such cases happen, then the counselor has to take his or her own decision in such cases. Understood? Should I move on to the next point?
Yes, surely, ma'am.
Okay. So the next point, which is equally important, that is the informed consent. So what is consent? Consent is a process that allows for free expression of an informed choice by a capable person to participate in a treatment or a study. Okay. So in nutshell, the counselor needs to explain the client the process and take the informed consent. I mean, take consent from the client. And since the process is informed with all the positive and negative sides, probably what could be the probable positive or negative effects of this counseling, and the decision is left to the client whether to go ahead or not. And this is very important in all medical, ethical, and legal procedures. I think for my father's this cataract surgery, they explained all this anesthesia and this local anesthesia and how it could be performed. There are 2-3 ways to perform the surgery and what could be the probable risk. So it's not only in counseling, but any medical procedure, when we go ahead with that procedure, we are always informed about the good and bad aspects, and then we put our signature there. So here also the counselor should receive the informed consent from the client. Understood?
Yes,
Please give your inputs, otherwise anyway I'm not putting on my video, so I cannot understand whether you people are there or not.
yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So here I have highlighted the point that as per the Mental Healthcare Act 2017, so there is a specific chapter, specific section which described what is informed consent for a specific intervention. So see the words chosen here to explain the act: be without any force, undue influence, fraud, threat, error, or misappropriation, and obtained after providing adequate information, including the risk and benefits of and alternatives to specific intervention in a language and manner comfortable to the patient. So the patient should understand the message, the patient or the client should understand the message. ऐसा नहीं कि जिसको जो पता नहीं है उसमें कुछ बोल दिए, कोई आए जिनको इंग्लिश पता नहीं है और हम उसी में बहुत कुछ एक्सप्लेन कर दिए, उनको पता ही नहीं चला, ऐसा नहीं. So moving on to the next point, right? Next point is,
Yes, ma'am.
right, yeah, any questions on this informed decision, informed consent?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So next point is boundaries. So the relationship between a client and a counselor needs to be strictly professional. So this is a therapeutic relationship where the client has come to the counselor to discuss certain issues, certain problems, and he is disclosing all the facts which may be needed by the counselor for treatment or for suggestions, for giving suggestions. And the relationship should be within these limits. So any other social or familial or sexual or business relationship is not encouraged between the client and the counselor. Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Now here, counseling is a little different than the traditional counseling setup. So in traditional counseling setup, what happens is the client goes to the counselor's chamber probably, and there within the chamber, both of them sit together face to face, and all this kind of physical touch and sexual contact, all these things, there is proper clothing or not, all these things becomes much more important in a traditional counseling setup. Whereas in telecounseling, mostly the communication is happening virtually, maybe over the phone or over video calls or audio calls. So here what the boundaries which are coming up in the sense, like maybe today I'm able to find my counselor in Facebook. I'm the client. I have found my counselor in Facebook and I have sent him or her a friend request. Should the counselor accept that or not? In Instagram, maybe I'm just following, or as a counselor, maybe I am following the client just to see, just to understand his whereabouts. But these things are discouraged. The relationship between the client and the counselor should be limited to the professional setup and should not go beyond that. That is the boundary in respect to counseling ethics. So here also two important terms come here. One is boundary violation and one is boundary crossing. So boundary violation is an offense. So see, the client in a good faith is disclosing everything, whatever is asked by the counselor, be it something regarding to his financial status and obviously his or her emotional status. So many private all the private conversation or all the private information he is disclosing to the counselor, which could be very sensitive information. So the counselor should not misuse that information to do any harm or to do any exploitation to the client. If such things happen, then that would be termed as boundary violation. So this is again, this concept is similar, I mean complementary to the initial basic principles, beneficence and non-maleficence, right? Beneficence, doing good to the client, and non-malfeasance, not doing any harm to the client. Are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. And next term is boundary crossing. This is not an offense, or this is not, that much offensive from the view of the counselor's point of view. So this is something like, suppose counselor to maybe my wedding, or maybe my birthday, or maybe my child's birthday. So this is kind of a social relationship is happening between the counselor and the client, but all such relationships are much discouraged. So sometimes the counselor is also in a dilemma whether to accept such invitations or not. Or suppose I am just trying, I have just gifted something to the counselor. Now ideally the counselor should not receive the gift, but then here also the best judge is the counselor here, and it depends on case to case basis how to react on such occasions. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Anything to be added? Anything to be shared on this point?
Ma'am, hello.
Yes, I'm there.
यस मैडम, जैसे मीन्स जजमेंट में मैडम बहुत सी बार मीन्स जैसे मैं एज ए मतलब मैं मेल हूँ, तो जो फीमेल व्यूज होता है वो मुझे पूछना पड़ता है बहुत सी बार मैडम। जैसे वो काउंसलिंग में उसका सुन लेते हैं, लेकिन डिसीजन के लिए मैडम जैसे क्योंकि जो फीमेल है वो अच्छी तरह बता पाती है मैडम। फीमेल जो व्यू है ना मैडम, ये थोड़ा सा रहता है प्रैक्टिकली जो मैं देखता हूँ मैडम। थैंक यू।
No, that is fine. In case of this boundary thing, what is happening is the focus is on the fact that you should limit your relationship to the professional one. कभी कभी वो थोड़ा बाउंड्री क्रॉसिंग हो सकता है कि जरूरी हो जाए, लेकिन बाउंड्री वायलेशन कभी भी होना नहीं चाहिए. So it's an ethical dilemma to the counselor, I will say, that sometimes maybe that is needed to establish that acceptance with the client. वो एक्सेप्टेंस के लिए कभी कभी हो सकता है कि आपको बाउंड्री क्रॉसिंग करनी पड़े, नहीं तो अंदाजा नहीं मिल रहा है क्लाइंट के जो भी एटीट्यूड है, जो भी वैल्यू सिस्टम है उस चीज का. लेकिन हमेशा ध्यान में यही रखना पड़ेगा कि वो बाउंड्री क्रॉसिंग तक फिर भी ठीक है, लेकिन वो बाउंड्री वायलेशन कभी भी होना नहीं चाहिए. Okay, any other thoughts, any other points on this? Okay, then let's move on to the next point. So here comes this another important aspect, which is this value conflict, which we already discussed in the beginning of the class. So what is happening is counseling, ideally it should be a value neutral process, but then we all are human beings, right? We also have our own emotions, we also have our own value system which guides us. So the counselor is also a human being, not a machine. So it is generally seen that to some degree, when the counselor communicates about values to the client, so those suggestions are based on his or her own value system. So at times it could clash with the value of the client or with the existing norms of the society. So suppose I belong to a, from that, and someone has come to me on a counseling regarding his or her live-in relationship. So maybe at the very beginning, that might hit my own value system, that why this person is in such a relationship. But that should not happen, because that person has come to me with certain other aspects, and he might be having his own set of values, and my suggestion should be like that, which will minimize his dissonance, or whatever dissonance he is having in his or her mind, and whatever is the acceptance of the society. I should try to give such suggestion so that he will be able to live happily within the society. So my own value system should not come in between my suggestion to him or her.
Means non-judgmental, being non-judgmental.
Yes, right. So being non-judgmental.
Ma'am, you say that sometime those values actually clashes between the counselor and the client's value. But at that time, what should a counselor then do? Because sometimes we even don't recognize that we are feeling a bit discouraged by those thoughts, as you gave that example, and live in relationships. So what should a counselor do at that time? How could he control?
So the counselor should go by the principle of beneficence. So the client has come to the counselor with certain dissonance or certain problems in his mind, and there are certain societal norms which the counselor or the client, none of them can overcome. So in such a situation, what will be the best suggestion which will benefit the client to lead a normal, painless, and dissonance-less life? So irrespective of whether he likes client's attitude or something or not, or whether she likes the client's values or not, the suggestions would be such that the client will be dissonance free, or the client will be worry free and live happily in the society.
Okay, ma'am.
Means our target should be the quality of life of the client.
Right. So that again comes to the basic value of beneficence.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Any other suggestions or any other points to add on here?
मैम मींस पर्सनली काफी कंट्रोल करना पड़ता है मैडम एज ए काउंसलर.
कंट्रोल करना पड़ता है.
यस मैडम, काफी मींस बहुत सी बार लगता है, लेकिन जिसमें मैं बताता हूँ मैडम, मैं मेरा एग्जांपल बताता हूँ जो
Yes, but this is the point I want to know, that how can actually a counselor can control, because we are human beings.
या मैं इसी का मैडम बता रहा था. मेरे जो मैं पर्सनली जो मैंने किया, जिस तरह से मेरे कोविड में ड्यूटी किया था मैडम, मैंने पर डे 5 to 10 डेज मतलब डेथ में देखता था मैडम. तो एक महीना हुआ, 2 महीने.
आई जस्ट मिस्ड इट. और एक बार बोलिए. हाँ,
यस मैम,
जस्ट मिस्ड इट. और एक बार बोलिए.
ओके मैम, मैं कोरोना काउंसलर के रूप में लगा था. तो उसमें क्या हुआ मैडम, 5 to 10 डेज पर डे देख रहा था. 21 में मीन्स मैं स्पेशली अप्रैल मई जून में, मीन्स जून तक तो फिर कंट्रोल हो गया था. बाकी जून के बाद जो मैं पर्सनली, मुझे भी मतलब ऐसा लगने लगा लाइफ के लिए प्रति क्या है, मतलब थोड़ा सा इतना इजी हो गया कि भाई बिल्कुल इस तरह से लोग जा रहे हैं. फिर हम थोड़ा शमशान घाट भी जाके आए थे, काफी को पैक करके, मतलब थोड़ा सा सर्विस के हिसाब से. तो उसके बाद मीन्स मैं पर्सनली अपने इम्प्रूवमेंट के लिए मैं ऋषिकेश गया था मैडम. वहाँ 15 डेज रुका. मतलब जब ये सब हो गया तो जुलाई में पूरा में 15 डेज रुका. तो उससे मीन्स थोड़ा थिंकिंग लेवल भी और सेल्फ कंट्रोल भी अच्छा है मैडम. और उसके बाद मैं नेक्स्ट 6 मंथ बाद मतलब योग और आसन मतलब का एक बेस लिया 1 मंथ. तो इससे इम्प्रूवमेंट हुआ मतलब सेल्फ में. नहीं तो हम भी 3 महीने से मतलब इतना देख के थोड़ा हो गया था, परेशान हो गया था मैडम. ये था.
ओके.
Yes, very true.
प्रियंका.
Very true.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Very true. I agree with Abhishek that I am also from medical profession. I also found such conditions, ma'am. And in these situations, ma'am, detoxification, psychological detoxification is very much important thing. However, it is possible through meditation, through music therapy, through self counseling, anything may help, ma'am. But it is very much necessary to do such psychological detoxification.
Ma'am, can I say something? Hello?
True, very true.
Can I say something, ma'am?
Okay, in terms of value, yeah, sure.
मैम मीन्स जैसे साइकोलॉजिकल
Sure,
जो
go
ऐसा रहता है
ahead.
मैडम. हेलो.
Yes,
Yes, we can
Abhishek,
hear.
go ahead.
यस मैम. तो मीन्स मैं बताता हूँ जो पर्सनली
Yes,
जो
please
थिंकिंग
go ahead.
या ओवर थिंकिंग होती है, जो देखते थे ना केस मैडम, तो रिपीट होता था माइंड में. उसके लिए मीन्स मैं जो
हाँ, मैं
ऋषिकेश गया
सुन
था
रही
मैडम.
हूँ, बोलिए आप.
यस. तो हम जो ऋषिकेश जाते थे वाटरफॉल के नीचे बैठते थे मैडम, वहां ध्यान
हाँ,
करते थे. फिर
हाँ,
मुझे फ्लूट का शौक था तो मैं
हाँ,
फ्लूट बजाता था. तो उससे इंटरनली
अच्छा,
पीस और साइलेंट आया. और फिर इसमें वर्क में भी इम्प्रूवमेंट आया और कैपेसिटी भी बिल्ड हुआ मैम.
very
और
good.
नाउ अब आई एम कैपेबल अकॉर्डिंग टू माय सेल्फ. मतलब पहले से मैं अब बेटर हूँ. मीन्स बेटर मतलब अच्छा परफॉर्मेंस दे सकता हूँ. बाकी पिछले साल हमें खुद को समझ में नहीं आया था कई कई सिचुएशन पे हम हाउ टू फाइट. सिचुएशन इतना वो हो गया था. अब ना अब ठीक है. मतलब हम अपना सेल्फ इस तरह से मैंने अपना इम्प्रूवमेंट किया मैडम एज ए
Okay,
काउंसलर.
okay. Thank you for
Ask,
sharing. Yeah.
ma'am, to ask that कि अभिषेक ने जब काउंसलिंग कोरोना काल में जब ये काउंसलिंग की उसके बाद उनमें चेंजेस आई, बट
Yes, Darsh.
इट टुक टाइम, है ना अभिषेक?
Right.
आपको टाइम लगा एंड आपने ये सब चीजें अपने इंटरेस्ट के अकॉर्डिंगली की ताकि आप अपने आप को चेंज कर सके. इज इट राइट?
मीन्स मैडम हम भी वापस नॉर्मल हो सके. मीन्स क्योंकि वो जो मई जून जुलाई अप्रैल मई जून जुलाई था ना मैडम 21 का, तो वो दौर में एक तो हम पैक थे पीपीटी किट. एक्चुअली हम फ्रीडम होते. ठीक है, पीपीटी किट जो था ना मैडम, एक तो फिजिकल भी बनना, मेंटली भी बहुत. और जो जिससे मिल रहे हैं, काउंसलिंग कर रहे हैं, वो 2-3 दिन बाद नहीं मिल रहा अचानक एकदम. तो इन चीजों में बड़ा पर्सनली बता रहा हूँ मैं, क्योंकि अभी पॉइंट यही चल रहा था. तो इस वजह से मतलब कंटिन्यू हुआ ना मैडम 3 मंथ का. तो फिर जुलाई से हमने अपना सेल्फ मतलब मीन्स जुलाई में नॉर्मल हो गया तो हम छुट्टी लेके चले गए फिर. और फिर अभी दिसंबर पूरा मतलब मार्च अप्रैल, हाँ 1 मंथ पूरा ऋषिकेश रह के पूरा योग का किया और ना म्यूजिक का और वो झरने में नहाना करना ये सब मैडम. तो उससे बहुत इम्प्रूवमेंट, सेल्फ इंटरेस्ट भी था. और उससे ये भी ध्यान हुआ कि आगे हम क्या करना मैडम, एनालिसिस हो पाया मैम. थैंक यू.
Okay. Thank you, Abhishek, for sharing your experience. ये value conflict, I would like to give you one or two examples, more examples. Suppose one person has come to you. He is from, he's working in IT or say BPO. So there usually frequently they have parties and all, and they do booze there. So they do take hard drinks in those parties. And suppose that person is facing problem at his home. His wife is not much approved of taking hard drinks in those parties. Now the person may be sharing the fact that, see, I am only having these drinks occasionally. It's when the official parties are happening, then only, because everyone is taking and it looks very odd if I don't take anything. And the wife's point is like, this is like, she wants to discourage this. She is saying that no, he should not take it at any time, at any cost. I have children at home, and when he's drunk, he's coming back, the children have started asking questions. So in such a situation, there could be two things from the counselor's perspective. Suppose I am a counselor. I also sometimes occasionally I do take hard drinks, and I don't feel that this is any crime taking when you are having drinks within your limits. You know what you are doing. you know, you are within your, self, you know the limits, it's okay, permissible. You can enjoy actually that environment. In that case, in my value system, I will be more empathetic to the client. Now, suppose in my value system, I believe that hardings is a strict no. It's a social malice. So I will not be empathetic to the client. So here what is happening is my personal value system is coming in between the client's problem and my suggestion, right? So as a
Yes, ma'am.
counselor, I would try to minimize such bias.
Voice problem.
Ma'am, your voice is not clear. Please repeat it.
Rather, I should try to focus on the client's problem.
Ma'am, voice issues.
No voice, ma'am.
I think I'm reconnected. Am I audible now? Hello?
Yes, now you can audible.
Okay. This is another dilemma in virtual mode. Many of the times this happens. Okay, let me just reshare this. Hope the slide is visible now.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that is one is value conflict. Well, where the suggestion for the counselor is the counselor should minimize his or her personal value system or personal value suggestions and just become value neutral while suggesting something to the client as far as possible. And then the next point is counselor's competence. So counselors must practice within the bounds of their competence and be forthcoming with clients about their limitations. So suppose I am good at certain things. Maybe I am good at understanding the attitude and behavior of adolescents, and I can suggest best to them. Hello? Am
Yes,
I
ma'am.
audible? Okay.
Yeah, madam.
Okay.
Clear.
So then I should not, I should limit my services. I should try to limit my services to this clientele, to this base. Maybe I'm not that good at solving marital problems. So it's better if some clients come with that problems. I maybe in the beginning only I should disclose that maybe these are the cases which I handle less, which is not much handled by me. So I should disclose all those things to the clients. And it's preferable that I should act within my competence area. And along with all these things, yeah, is it fine? Should we move forward?
Ma'am, please explain once again with an example.
Yeah, so I was talking about that I should practice my counseling service within my competence. So maybe say I'm good at solving marital problems. I can understand these people who are in the age group of say 20 to 40 years and who are in a relationship, marital relationship. I can understand their problems pretty well, and I am good at counseling those people. So maybe sometimes it can happen that one person has come with his or her adolescence child, or maybe a small kid. That kid is having some behavioral issues. So in the beginning itself, I should disclose to the client that I am good at such services, say solving marital problem services, and this case is comparatively new to me, and
Okay,
it is preferable that I should practice within my competence area. And last but not the least, as a counselor,
This
yes,
that means the counselor's competence is connected with the veracity, means honesty of the counselor.
right, very good, very good, right. So I'm being truthful to my profession here when I'm practicing within my competence area.
Okay.
So besides all these things, the counselor should know all the important regulatory environment, or the important laws and important norms of the society and all. So suppose as of now in India, when you are practicing as a counselor, you should be knowing this POSCO Act, you should be knowing about the Domestic Violence Act, then marriage laws, the mental health care act 2017, then maybe the section 377 verdict. So all these things, all these acts which are having an impact in the society, the counselor should be proficient in knowing all such acts. Making sense? Okay. So the lecture mode ends here. Now what I have to offer is, I have jotted down some case studies. So my request to you all is, please read this slide. Take 6 minutes to read it, and then come up with your idea that if such a case, suppose such a case has come to you, such a client has come to you, so how you will go ahead with the counseling process, and what ethical issues you should keep in mind, right? The slide is visible, I hope.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. So now over to you. Now you are the teacher and I will be the listener. Yes.
यस मैम।
Yeah, any response?
मीन्स मैम ये संजय इसका पूरा मैडम बताना है ना मैडम, इसको गाइड करना है।
हाँ, तो ये ऐसा है, इंफॉर्मेंट मैंने लिखा है वाइफ। सो वाइफ जो है इनकी सुजॉय मित्रा, ही इज अ इमेजिनरी कैरेक्टर। सो इनकी वाइफ जो है आई है काउंसलर के पास, एंड शी एक्चुअली इन्फॉर्म्ड, शी एक्चुअली सेड दैट दीज आर द प्रॉब्लम्स दे आर हैविंग। सो क्या क्या कंप्लेंट है this man Sujoy Mitra, Sujoy remains always worried, he is overburdened, less enthusiastic to get back from crisis, जो भी है अपने काम को लेके इतना वरीड रहते हैं, he is always in that crisis handling mode, very depressive mood. So this is affecting his personal life. So his relationship with his wife is now deteriorated, degraded, and he is not even spending enough time with his daughter, who is 5 years of age. So daughter is also deprived, and some demographic data is given. Some demographic data the counselor knows, that is this Shujoy is a 37 years old male person, and he is a bank manager, and his monthly salary is roughly around 80,000 per month. So these are the data provided. Now my question is how you will go ahead with the counseling process, and what ethical values, ethical aspects you should keep in mind.
फर्स्ट तो मैडम वाइफ जो आई है कंप्लेन लेके आई होगी ना मैडम।
हाँ, उन्होंने ये बात बोला है कि ये प्रॉब्लम्स हो रही है उन लोगों के बीच।
फर्स्ट तो मैडम वाइफ से पूछेंगे, मतलब एक तो इसमें वाइफ की एज भी पूछेंगे, उनकी शादी कब हुई वो भी पूछना पड़ेगा मैडम ना। तो पहले डेटा ले लेंगे मैडम इनका, वो वाइफ लगभग बता देगी सारा। क्योंकि मान लो इनका शादी कब हो, जिसमें 5 ईयर की डॉटर मीन्स वो वाइफ भी मतलब 30 की एज में दोनों का शादी हुआ होगा, है ना, जनरली अप्रोक्सीमेटली। तो और उनका भी एजुकेशन क्या है उसका भी फर्क पड़ता है। और हस्बैंड को थोड़ा मतलब उनको भी हस्बैंड से ही बात करनी होगी इसमें
ऑब्वियसली,
क्योंकि उनको जैसे बैंक में मैडम क्या होता है, सैटरडे सेकंड और फोर्थ सैटरडे ऑफ रहता है, उनका प्राइवेट है कि गवर्नमेंट है ये पूछना होगा मैडम, है ना। तो इसमें बैंक में मैडम मिलता है ना मैडम वो घूमने के लिए 3 ईयर में 1 टाइम। तो एक वो उसका बहुत फर्क पड़ता है, वो हम बताएंगे कि आपने कब लास्ट टाइम कब घूमने गए थे या पर्सनल, क्योंकि कंटिन्यू एक ही वर्क और वर्कलोड की वजह से होता है मैडम। जैसे अगर वो कौन से बैंक में उसका भी फर्क पड़ता है मैडम, जैसे SBI बैंक में है जनरली, एक
मतलब प्राइवेट है या पब्लिक बैंक,
हाँ गवर्नमेंट, उसका बहुत फर्क
पड़ता
पड़ता है
जरूर।
तो वो डेटा लेंगे। अगर वो प्राइवेट में है तो वो देखना पड़ेगा उनका क्या क्या मीन्स है, उनके हमले हस्बैंड की भी काउंसलिंग को करनी पड़ेगी पहले, वो सारा डेटा मैडम वाइफ से लेना होगा उनका।
हाँ, यहाँ पे हस्बैंड जो है वही आपका मेन क्लाइंट है।
यस मैडम।
हस्बैंड को मैडम से जो है अनरेस्ट एक पैदा हो रहा है इन द फैमिली लाइफ।
यस मैडम, उनको थोड़ा बताना होगा कि मीन्स आपका जो अभी एज है इस एज में आप मतलब बच्चे का वो बचपन कब, उनको मतलब थोड़ा ह्यूमैनिटी की ओर ले जाना पड़ेगा मैडम। बच्चे को अगर अभी नहीं देखेंगे मतलब उसका बचपन कब देखोगे आप, एज ए फादर का जो रोल होता है मैडम।
बिल्कुल।
दूसरा जो वर्कलोड है मीन्स किस वजह से है, क्योंकि और भी लोग काम कर रहे हैं ना, और
अकेले तो वो नहीं है, इतने सारे
दूसरा
बैंक में
टाइम
इतने
कम
सारे
देना जो होता है मतलब
ब्रांच,
घर के प्रति जो टाइम कम दे रहा है मैडम, है ना। तो वो कितने बजे आते हैं और मतलब कितने बजे चले जाते हैं, तो उससे क्या है कि उनका फूड हैबिट्स क्या है मैडम, है ना। वो कब साथ बैठते हैं, मीन्स जब वो आ रहे हैं तो दोनों साथ बैठ के खाना खा सकते हैं, इस तरह से, ताकि मेन अंडरस्टैंडिंग डेवलप हो मैडम।
अच्छा।
दूसरा जो कंप्लेन वाइफ साइड की कुछ होगी तो वो मीन्स एक तो होता है ना मैडम, एक तो ऑफिस से आने के जस्ट बाद, है ना, और एक मॉर्निंग में जाने से पहले, है ना मैडम। उनका क्या, आपका उनका बिटवीन रिलेशन कैसा है, वाइफ भी वर्किंग है कि नहीं, उसका भी देखना, हाउस वाइफ है कि नहीं, है ना, उसका भी फर्क पड़ता है ना। ये मतलब थोड़ा ये डेटा लेना पड़ेगा हमको। फिर दूसरा जो डॉटर है 5 ईयर की, उनकी जो इनकी, क्योंकि वो स्कूल भी जाने लगी होगी, तो उनका पेरेंटल मीटिंग में कौन अटेंड कर रहा है, तो स्कूल से भी उनको मीन्स थोड़ा सा टीचर्स के थ्रू भी थोड़ा बात करनी होगी कि ना बच्चे को मतलब आपके डेवलपमेंट के लिए
टीचर्स तो आपके हाथ नहीं लगेंगे उतना,
नहीं, वो
आपको
पेरेंट टीचर मीटिंग होती है ना मैडम, मंथली, उसमें मैडम दोनों साथ जाए, मीन्स समझ रहे हैं, तो
अच्छा,
जो
ओके
चीज उसका फर्क पड़ता है मैम,
ओके,
और उनके हस्बैंड से
वेरी गुड।
बात।
और क्या क्या एथिकल एस्पेक्ट यहाँ पे आपको ध्यान में रखना पड़ेगा?
यस मैम, मीन्स बच्चे के प्रति तो मैडम वो क्योंकि होना ही है, जनरली अगर वो डॉटर है ना मैडम, जो इन प्रैक्टिस देखा गया है, डॉटर फादर से थोड़ा ज्यादा लगाव रखता है, मीन्स जब भी वो आएंगे तो बाहर गेट पे खड़ी हो जाती है जनरली, है ना, और वो जाने से पहले भी मीन्स जैसे जो मैं जनरली प्रैक्टिस में देख रहा हूँ मैं, मतलब वो जा रहे हैं तो उनकी ऑफिस की चाबी ले आएगी, या फिर शूज दे देगी, है ना, दौड़ के, या खाना खाने बैठे तो रोटी लेके आ जाएगी, तो ये सब चीजें थोड़ा उनको ट्रेनिंग देनी होगी, उससे उनको लगाव
ठीक
बनेगा।
है, थैंक यू अभिषेक। एनीवन एल्स who would like to contribute? What will be the ethical considerations? What should the counselor keep in mind as ethical aspects in this case? Anyone else?
Ma'am, we have to think about his means clients' physical health also, because at this age, due to heavy workload, he may suffer from various kinds of disease. I mean the hypertension or the diabetes or any other disease also. And with this,
any
we
such
have
lifestyle disease?
yes,
These days we say lifestyle disease, right?
Yes, yes, ma'am. And along with this, his sleep pattern means it is also come under this lifestyle also. His sleep pattern, diet, etc., ma'am. And one thing, ma'am, the justice. If we think about the little child, 5-year-old child, the father, we have to make our father that it is the child right to yes, ma'am, to express
quality time from both of the parents.
Yes, ma'am. তো এটা আমাদের aware করতে হবে, we have to make aware parents, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
मैं वन थिंग, एक इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग और मैम इसमें, इसे में डिप्रेशन की वजह से उनकी पर्सनल सेक्सुअल लाइफ पे भी इसका इफेक्ट आता होगा मैम।
होता तो है,
उसके लिए भी इम्प्रूवमेंट, उनके लिए वो हस्बैंड से मतलब इनसे दोनों से बात करनी होगी, उसके लिए सजेशन देना होगा, ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग हो जाता है। दूसरा, जो ये साथ साथ घूमने जाने का कुछ प्लान होता है ना मैडम विद फैमिली, उसका बहुत फर्क, दोनों एक दूसरे को टाइम दे पाएंगे उसके लिए, और बैंकिंग ये देता है जनरली। और जैसे मैटरनिटी लीव, मान लो इस एज में सेकंड बच्चे के लिए भी ट्राई करते हैं लोग, तो मैटरनिटी लीव के साथ पैटर्निटी लीव भी मिलती है मैडम, पेड होती है। तो वो भी उन्हें नहीं ध्यान है तो बताना होता है, उससे क्या है मैडम, दोनों की अंडरस्टैंडिंग बहुत डेवलप होती है, चाइल्ड केयर भी अच्छा हो जाता है, और मीन्स मनी का प्रॉब्लम नहीं आता, और वो 3 मंथ जो मिलता है उसमें उनकी बॉन्डिंग स्ट्रॉन्ग हो जाती है मैम। ये है, मान लो सेकंड बच्चे के लिए ट्राई कर रहे हैं तो
ठीक,
जो भी सिचुएशन है वो
जी, लॉकडाउन में ऐसे ही, लॉकडाउन पूरा बेबी बूमर था, इसी हिसाब से लोग थोड़ा डिप्रेशन में थे, और उसके बाद बेबी बूमर हो गया वो टाइम। Okay, thank you all for sharing your views. Let's move on to the next case. So this is case 2, where this Punit Singh, he is of 20 years of age. He is a student. and the family income is around 70,000 per month. So his father is a veterinary doctor and mother is a homemaker. He is the only child. All these cases are imaginary cases only. And the mother has informed the counselor that Puneet is having certain issues, certain behavioral issues. He is highly ambitious. He is having competitive mindset, and he is very anxiety prone. He is never satisfied with himself, never satisfied with anything. His say his relationships with his parents, never satisfied with anything almost. Then he is confused and skeptical. He's having frequent mood swings. Sometimes he is very enthusiastic, sometimes he is depressed, and he is very anxiety prone. And frequently he is showing rude behavior towards his parents or other elders in the family. So these are his behavioral issues. So again, how you will go ahead with the case, what will be the ethical aspects while handling such a client. So take a little time and then you can come back with your suggestions.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
No, I'm not madam.
Yes, you can go ahead with your.
Actually, madam, I am just
You can
feeling.
go ahead your suggestions. Yes.
Yeah, but before saying anything, I just want to share one thing with you.
Mhm.
The case studies,
Sure.
whatever we are observing in our screen, the same problem is facing by one of my colleague. She also
Great.
has a single son, and actually that's just only the name is not Puneet Singh. The name is only different. His father is a high court judge, so much
Okay.
busy, just like this doctor, and mother is professor, and
Okay.
only son, and facing just the same symptoms, and the complaint is same, and informant is also
Good to
mother.
know that at least I have put some realistic cases here,
Yeah,
which you
it's
can
bad
think
to know,
upon.
madam. It's not a really good thing. The suffering of the means mother, I can observe day by day and daily life. And
True.
the thing is that, madam, and now the madam, Miss, I call him Dipanita Di, she is becoming a mental patient to observe this condition of her only son.
Now she is becoming depressed of the situation.
Yeah, madam. Now she has to take pills for sleeping and other things. BP is going to high, anxiety syndrome is there. Father has no time because she's judge of, and you know the cases per capita in our day.
True.
So huge workload. No time for son. Actually, now she started blaming themselves. She is telling that we, the mother and father, we are the culprit for destroying our child because we don't have time. So we are at the infant stage. We have just missed whatever my son wanted. We just gave him. So these caused the thing that my son is habituated that whatever you want, you can get that thing. And this condition is actually this caused this type of ambition. Whatever else high ambition is there, because mother is professor, father is judge, so I have to be very good. Have to have very good result in school. Sometimes
Right.
the symptoms started in that way when he was in class 6 or 7 in Delhi public school. The result is not that much good what he wanted to be, because every time he thinks that my mother is professor, father is judge, so I will be the first. But when the result in class 4 to 5 or 6, the result was very good. First boy of that
school.
That section, and gradually the result is declining. There is a declining result, and it causes this type of mental problem, means rude behavior generating in that boy. And
because
now,
because he's not being satisfied with his own performance.
he is not
that
at all
unrest.
satisfied with his own performance, as well as he is not satisfied with his parents. Now he's always, when we meet, or we always say that look, they both of my parents is really a very prestigious job holder person, but they are the worst parents I know. They have no time for me, so then we don't love his parents. And now he has started to hate them also, and throwing the utilities to parents, and every bad words and everything is there. So your case study means it is really
much similar.
Not only similar, means it is hurting me also.
So how any suggestions you give to this lady?
Actually,
fellow?
For the last couple of years, we are trying to at first motivated the mother, means the professor lady, to handle, to cope up with that situation, because we are observing the dark circles under his eyes and weight loss day by day. So we think we should at first give mental support to the mother and make her fit to cope up with the situation. And now she is ready to face all the things. And for the last, I think, 2 months, Ovi is taken to the psychiatrist, Dr. Joyranjan Ram. And he is taking the pills, and counseling is also going on. And now Dipanita is telling that my son is 1%, not a very big, but 1% better in better mood.
That's good to know.
Time, but that phase is not a constant one. It will take some time, you know, madam, better than me.
Yeah,
but
true.
But it is a light of hope. for us.
True.
It
Now
is
here, can you
being a
relate?
mother, ma'am,
Yeah.
being a mother, I can
Yeah.
feel the feeling of a mother when she observes her son in that situation. It's the worst thing, isn't it, madam?
True, true. So here, can you relate with any of the ethical principles or systems that
Yeah,
today,
madam.
whatever we have covered?
Madam, I just want to say one word. It is true. It is true. Maybe we are successful in our life, but it's not a peaceful life always. Peace and success is
True.
totally different. So ethically, to be a good parent, we have to have sacrificed some of our success, so-called success in career. Ethically, it is much more needed to give time to our next generation, to our kids or children. Ethically, we have to make a balance, isn't it, madam? It
Yeah,
is our
I shall comment on this.
Yeah.
I would like to hear any other inputs from anyone
Okay,
else.
thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
या मैम, ये एक
Yes.
प्रैक्टिकली केस मैडम मैं बता देता हूँ आपको। मैडम हमारे रिलेटिव का ही केस था, क्योंकि वो फादर तो डॉक्टर वेटरनरी डॉक्टर है, तो इस वजह से उनको क्या हमेशा गांव में रहना पड़ा। तो इनिशियल स्टेज जो बच्चा जो था, जब वो 5 से 10 साल का था, तब उनको गांव में स्टडी करनी हुई, तो उसका डेवलपमेंट उस तरह से हुआ। फिर उनको फील हुआ क्योंकि हम गांव में हैं, तो उन्होंने सोचा हम सिटी में आ जाते हैं। तो वो बच्चा सिटी में है, लेकिन उसमें क्योंकि फादर क्योंकि वेटरनरी डॉक्टर थे, तो उनको तो गांव में जाना ही होता था। तो उनको उसने देख रखा, मतलब उनका जो स्मेल आना ये वो, तो बच्चे को एक क्लीनिंग का चीज हो गया, मीन्स वो बहुत साफ रहने लग गया, और साफ करते करते इतना साफ हो गया कि उसको कुछ कॉम्प्रोमाइज नेचर खत्म हो गया मैडम उसका। मीन्स अगर कोई घर पे आ रहा तो 3 बार पोछा लगा रहा है वो, समझ रहे मैडम? क्योंकि उसने वो स्मेल उसको वो फील होता था, मीन्स क्योंकि उसने बचपन से
वो
देखा।
ओसीडी टाइप का हो गया क्या?
यस मैडम। तो वो बड़ी मुश्किल से उसको, और मदर दूसरा था, मदर ने क्या हुआ कि उनको थोड़ा मतलब बचपन में मारा बहुत था बच्चे को, है ना?
अच्छा।
तो उससे क्या हुआ, उनको मतलब एक हमने समझाया था मदर को, आपने प्यार से क्यों नहीं समझाया? आपको प्यार से भी समझा सकते थे, आपने मदर मारा। तो उसने बच्चे से दिन फादर के साथ जाता था, जब वो ट्रीटमेंट होता था तो देखने जाता ही था, तो उसको ये लगा कि ये जानवर की तरह ट्रीट किया है मुझे, मीन्स समझ रहे हैं मैडम?
अच्छा, ओके।
ये जो प्रैक्टिकल केस बता रहा हूँ, तो वो एक जो फादर से इनसे इमोशन, और फिर मदर को फिर बाद में एहसास हुआ, तो उन्होंने जब वो टीन एज में आने लगा, तो उन्होंने पक्ष लिया। और पक्ष लेने से क्या हो गया, उनका फेवर इतना बढ़ गया, वो जब सिटी में आए, तो वो ड्रिंकिंग और सब में हो गया, तब भी उन्होंने छुपाना शुरू किया।
ओके,
समझ रहे मैडम? बिल्कुल
ओके।
प्रैक्टिकल केस बता रहा हूँ मैडम।
या
तो अब वो ठीक है।
या
तो ये जो
थैंक
हमारे
यू अभिषेक। So I will come back to Arpita madam. Arpita, right? Yeah, Dr. Arpita. So I will come back to you. So here we can see to some extent the concept of value conflict here. Say when I am addressing the mother, so the mother is now feeling guilty that she couldn't spare time or she couldn't spend quality time with the kid. But first of all, we need to address the issue, saying, suggesting or say consoling her with the fact that it was not that she was wasting time in some vain, all in vain or all in trivial activities. She was working somewhere, right? She is working somewhere. So she has spent her time with super quality, or she has justified her education and her skills. So she should not feel guilty about the fact. At the same time, we will try to make the child understand that his parents are dutiful to their profession, so they might not be able to spend sometimes it might happen that they were not able to spend time with him, but it was not exactly their fault. It was kind of they were fulfilling their other responsibilities, which are also much needed, maybe for the society or maybe for the greater cause of the society. So if the child is able to understand this to some extent, at least that emotion of hatred will come down. Similarly to the mother also, that emotion of guilt will come down, and that guilt is there to believe me, that guilt is there to every working mother even today, that whether she is being a good mom to the child or whether she is being a good employee to the organization or whether she is able to do justice to her skills or not. So first of all, the woman should not feel guilty. And here several issues might come. Sometimes what happens, we have the proper supportive system in our home. When the mother is not able to give a certain quality time, maybe there is the grandparents or there is some other elder person in the household who can actually spend quality time. But sometimes unfortunately that doesn't happen. So that is, yes, that gives or that generates an unrest in the child, which is which happens, which is kind of a cause and effect. These situations are kind of cause and effect. And to the woman also, when they're in the beginning or in the middle of their career and in the middle of their parenthood as well, or even I will not say the woman only, though till now the primary caregiver is the woman of the house, the mother. But these days the father is also coming up as a hands-on. They are also coming up in hands-on parenting. I have seen many fathers who are like spending quality time with their children, playing something with them. So the both the parents, the partners, the father and mother, they have to come to a certain decision point that how to progress in their career, how to face their career. And this cannot be after 20 years or after 22 years. This cannot be pondered on. This decision has to be taken when the child is 3 or 4 years of age, started going to school. In those phases only, those very critical decisions has to be taken. Sometimes what is happening, the father is maybe they're opting out for something which they can work from home if the kind of job permits that, or sometimes the mother, they are opting out for something as an adjunct faculty, working somewhere as an adjunct some uh, employee, so that every day they don't have to go to the office. So but all these things are applicable when the child is at tender age. So when all those situations are now closed chapter, so what can be done? So one thing, obviously, the lady should not feel guilty. The mother should not feel guilty because she also did some justice to her education, to her skills. Same way, the child also has to understand that they were trying to fulfill some greater responsibility towards the society. What has happened might be unfortunate, but he should not feel hatred towards his parents.
One question.
So here, okay, yeah, please
Ma'am,
go
what
ahead.
if, ma'am, what if the child doesn't understand this thing? Even what will we do? Even if he blames his parents and
So,
he
so,
keeps on.
so these are the, skills of the counselor. So see, these things depends on so many things. It's not only one aspect. I was just trying to correlate such cases with the, whatever we read today. So like here you will find the value conflict thing. then the justice thing. So the child, yes, might be able, might be he's able to understand. I mean, might be he's understanding the fact. Might be he still thinks that no, what he received is not, enough. Yeah. So that again depends. Yeah, that again depends on the skills of the counselor, how she is going to go ahead with such situations, such cases. Another thing which the counselor may focus on, see, 20 years means that person is full of energy. So they need to basically channelize their energy into some positive things. So what has happened in the childhood, what has happened in the years, that has already happened. We cannot go back and give something extra to the person right now after 20 years of age. We cannot take him back to his 2 years, right?
Yes, ma'am, very true. Ma'am, I want
So
to
yeah.
sh-
Yes.
explain that boy is of is in my relatives. So he is 19. He's 19 years old. So
Mm-hmm.
his father had died around when he was 3 to 4 years old. So her
Okay.
mother is a working woman, and she takes
Mm-hmm.
care. She takes a great care.
Mm-hmm.
She takes very greatly. She is never into that he by chance कि ये miss करे अपने father को. She is up to the
Mm-hmm.
mark. So but the
Okay.
child like blames, always blames that I don't, because he doesn't like to study now, so he blames his mother that I don't study because you are not giving time.
So he's
Right?
escaping. Basically, he's escaping from the situations, and he's creating a story for supporting story for his escape.
But ma'am, what that mother will do, because she is giving time and now he's saying that you are into using a lot of phone, mobile, so that's why I'm not studying.
Mhm.
Now she
So
is not
here the
even
suggestions, yeah, here the suggestions to the child should be towards, like, you are now 18, you have crossed 18 years of age, you are now a independent person. So in fact, in India, we remain dependent on our parents even after 18 years of age. So in
yes,
outside
ma'am.
India, in most of the Western countries, so now once one reaches that at certain age, then they are responsible for their own life. So here the person, that
Ma'am,
child should be, yeah, that fellow should be so the counseling should go move towards that avenue, that the person feels responsible for his activities now onwards.
So you mean that we have to make him feel that he has to be responsible now.
Right. So he
Okay.
has a long life ahead of him, and it's only he now who is responsible for the rest of his life, because he has received education. His parents, his mother has uh, arranged those possibilities where he can get good education, he can get good food, good good
Good
family.
clothing, everything.
Yeah. So whatever is needed for a person to
Mhm.
remain alive, all those things he has received, and he is now the responsible one to lead the rest of his life. So that sense of responsibility should be induced into himself, so that he stop behaving such irresponsible, or he stop creating such irresponsible statements, stop these irresponsible actions. These actually sometimes, again, how it happens, because many people, maybe in his family, the others, maybe they have just blamed the mother that वो तो काम कर रही है and she's not taking care of the kid. But here, whatever his mother contributed, that should be in focus, that should be focused more, that she could have just left the child and she could have lived her life very, enthusiastically and happily, but she took the pain to provide everything to the child. So now he is the responsible one for the rest of his life. is
इसमें
right. That
That
sense
means
should
when
be
इसमें एक
induced
चीज
in
थी
his
मैडम,
mind.
जो जनरली केस में मैं देखता हूँ इंडियन में, कि एक्चुअली जो उसके फादर है वो डोमिनेट करते हैं, तो वो मदर की रेस्पेक्ट नहीं करते, तो बच्चा देखता है कि नहीं वो डोमिनेंट नहीं, मदर हमेशा अवेलेबल है, तो वो उनको मतलब वैल्यू नहीं करता मदर की, जिसे हाथ में, क्योंकि वो फादर भी उनका वैल्यू नहीं करते जनरली। तो वो जो बच्चा जो बचपन से देखता है कि हाँ ये इनका कुछ सुन नहीं रहा है और ये हमेशा अवेलेबल भी है, ये तो हमेशा कभी खाना बना रही कभी क्या, तो वो एक वैल्यू जो होता है ना मैडम, वो वहां से आता है। अगर फादर वैल्यू करेंगे, रेस्पेक्ट करेंगे, उनकी बात सुनेंगे, तो बच्चा भी सुनेगा मैडम। ये चीज मैंने काफी जगह मतलब इम्प्लीमेंट के लिए बोला है। थैंक यू मैम।
True.
Ma'am, we can change his focus from being victimized to become a winner.
Right. So the focus here will be on autonomy. The focus here will be on, doing justice to his own life.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
एक चीज मैडम, रेस्पेक्ट की बड़ी बात है मैडम। जो बच्चा है ना, बचपन से उसकी रेस्पेक्ट, उसके मतलब थिंकिंग सुनो और उसकी रेस्पेक्ट करते हैं ना मैडम, क्योंकि मैंने देखा जनरली वो बच्चे की रेस्पेक्ट नहीं, तुम क्या करोगे, हम तुमसे ज्यादा है, तो उसको जो दबाया जाता है ना मैडम, जनरली हमारे वहाँ तो बहुत होता है।
बच्चे का रिस्पेक्ट तो है, साथ में वो भी जो बात अपने अभी आपने जो शेयर किया, रेस्पेक्टिंग ईच अदर्स, पेरेंट्स जो है ईच अदर को रेस्पेक्ट करना चाहिए। जहाँ पे ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स साथ में हैं वहाँ पे और क्रिटिकल हो जाता है। मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स द इन लॉज आर नॉट पेइंग, द वो लेडी ऑफ द हाउस को मानते ही नहीं है कुछ, वो तो बस यूं ही है। तो ये सबसे जैसे हो सकता है, ये जो केस अभी इन्होंने शेयर किया, प्रियंका, राइट, प्रियंका दक्ष who shared that. So when the lady was working and the child lost his father, but the lady was trying to support the child in best possible ways. बट हो सकता है कि उनके नेबरहुड में या उनके घर में ही कोई रिलेटिव या ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स ऐसा हमेशा बोलते रहा हो, जैसे मम्मी क्या करती है, कुछ भी तो नहीं करती है, बस ऑफिस जाते रहती है। So it's not बस ऑफिस जाते रहती है, it's because she is going to office, the child is getting all those parvarish which he could not have received otherwise. So the child should be respectful of his mother instead of picking up this escape statement कि हाँ मम्मी ने तो ये नहीं किया, मम्मी ने तो वो नहीं किया, इसलिए मेरा नहीं हो रहा है. So it depends on so many things. And we need to find out the best possible way to address such issues.
इसमें एक चीज जो आप फॉरेन के लिए बताते हो ना, कल्चर में, वहाँ मैडम जनरली क्या होता है कि ना, मैं जिससे बच्चों से कभी बात करता हूँ, वहाँ कभी आता है मेरे पास, तो जब मैं गया था मैंने बात की थी, तो उन्होंने बताया था कि मेरे पेरेंट्स कहाँ है, वो कि मेरे स्टेप फादर है, स्टेप मदर है। तो मीन्स जो ये स्टेप फादर स्टेप मदर का रोल भी बड़ा रहता है, उससे बच्चा, और वहाँ तो वैसे फ्री कर देता है ना मैडम, तो वो एक्चुअली उसमें कंफ्यूज आता है कि मेरे फादर और मदर को, वो दोनों मिलने जाएगा तो एक मदर एक्स्ट्रा मिलेगी उसको, उधर फादर एक्स्ट्रा मिल जाता है। ये बड़ा
then after a certain time they also come into terms with that. वो एडजस्ट भी हो जाते हैं बहुत कोई वैसा, इसमें वैसा फैमिली सेटअप में।
मिस मैडम एक्चुअली वो फॉरेन के जो भी जो है चिल्ड्रन, वो उनके लिए पेरेंट्स एटीएम मशीन की तरह हो गया मैडम।
अरे अभी इंडियन चिल्ड्रन के लिए भी पेरेंट्स वही बन गए हैं। ओके, सो वी हैव वन मोर केस, शुड वी मूव ahead with that or close the class here? What do you want?
As you wish. We are continuing.
Okay, so this is the last one I have put up for you, I think. Yeah, okay. Okay, this is a little similar. Let's move on to the last one. This is a little different than the other one. Yeah, so we have Sunita here. She's 45 years of age and she's having some job. Her income is around 50,000 per month. And she's a divorcee and she lives with her aged mother. She doesn't have any children. So she has come herself to the counselor. Now she is a little depressed. She has become alcoholic. She has lost her temper. Suddenly she is getting very enraged and she is picking up fights in the office, with her colleagues, with her higher authorities, and mostly she is not able to find any meaning to her existence or any meaning to her life. So this is the last case of today. Hope you have enjoyed the class, and just take 1-2 minutes and let's move forward with the
Ma'am,
ethical aspects. Yes.
yes, ma'am. We have to follow such points that her general health we have to follow up. Then the family environment means she is living with her mother, but her mother is also saying some bitter words to her. We have to inquire this, and her peer pressure also we have to find, because after such relationship breakup, the peer pressure in the surrounding or may arise there, and there the inner lack of love makes her jumping from one road to another road to prove her existence. So we may help this lady ma'am by giving some way out, like the self-discovery, like through meditation, through spirituality.
Okay.
Yes.
Anyone else? Any inputs?
Madam, may I?
Yes. Yes, please.
Actually, madam, here I just want to focus one point. This lady, Shunita, madam, 45 years, actually, if I am of same age.
Yes.
And but here this person divorcee with her mother, but she is somehow not satisfied with all her life, so sudden temper, and
Right.
so
Very right.
I will suggest her at first to think of her in own way, to have a quality time at first for herself. Actually, ma'am, we the person
Very true, madam. Very true.
everything,
Right.
everything for others, just to satisfy others, just to do for others, to be in good eye for others. It is also true for family also.
True.
We are
Very
doing
true.
to have love from others, to have respect from others, everything for others. But I will suggest at first do something for you. What will make you happy? What you want? What is the quality time? And for that intervention, I just want to apply some music therapy, as my Priyanka says. Can have
Very good,
yoga
madam. Very
or
relevant
other
points.
things, and dance therapy, movement therapy. What you want, just go for it. Don't bother others what the others are thinking. Maybe that person has something in mind. I am divorcee, so some means लोग क्या कहेंगे, पीछे तो बहुत कुछ बोलते हैं. So I will say what you want to do, please do. Life is once, enjoy it, and you have every right to life. So
Very
it is
true.
the first
Very
point.
true. Very true.
And second thing is that you have the golden asset in your life, that is your mother. I feel it because I don't have. I have lost my mother last year. So for every woman, mostly every woman, the main support line, mental support line is mother. So you have your mother with you, who can stand beside you, not physically, mentally, because she is aged, but he can mentally support you in every corner you need. So you have a big supporter in your life with you. You can enjoy your life in your own way. what happens, what are other thinkings, just forget it. Give quality time, and
Very
it will
true. So, yeah.
it will encourage it, and I think it will reflect some happiness in her life day by day. This happiness will be in better mode, and this sudden temper and other fight with colleagues, it will suddenly decrease.
Yeah, she will be able to cope up with her depression and mood swings. Very true,
Actually,
madam. Thank you for your
everything in
inputs.
our mind, isn't it, madam?
True, true.
Okay.
So here the ethical principles which we can relate to is this non-maleficence and beneficence, right? So the counselor is thinking not to harm the client and also to, in any respect, to do something good to the client. And yes, in our life, mostly it's the perception of others which leads to our self-perception, which should not be the case. So our happiness or our sorrow should not depend on others' feedback, right? So this is very rightly said. And hope this, I'm just stopping this slide share and just switching on my video. Maybe others also do the same. I just want to look at your faces. So hope this class was, thank you, Abhishek. Hope this class was useful to you. And good night, happy living. Hi, Abhishek. Good to see you. Anyone else who would like to switch on their video?
Same to you.
Sharpita madam, Priyanka.
Sorry, ma'am, my dress is not proper. Sorry.
Okay. Okay, not in a situation, doesn't matter. Okay.
It's a very good session, madam. Thank
Thank
you.
you all. Thanks for all your participation. I also enjoyed. And good night.
you so much, ma'am.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, ma'am. Nice session,
Yeah,
ma'am. Thank you.
Shreyashi is there.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Shreyashi, for giving me this session. I also enjoyed a lot. Thanks all. Thanks everyone for your participation. Should I end this?
Yes, ma'am. Good night.